Well, here with me now for the Conservatives is David Gauke, the Financial Secretary to the Treasury. Welcome to you. Voters seem to smell a bit of a rat about these unemployment figures or employment figures. Otherwise, you might be doing rather better in the polls.
Well, we'll see on the 7th of May. These are extremely good numbers. The fact that there are 2 million more people in work than there was 5 years ago is really good news. It's really good news for the 2 million individuals concerned and their families. And we're providing economic security by having an economy that is job creating. And most of other European countries, I think, would look at us with somewhat envious eyes.
Well, there is quite a soft underbelly to all this, though, isn't there? I mean, do you accept what Chukwuemeka was saying there about families in London, on average, being £3,000 worse off, and across the nation, about £1,500 worse off?
Well, no, I don't accept that. Indeed, if you look at the numbers, and we've seen this from the ONS, is that the average household is £900 better off than they were in 2010.
One of the points he's stressing is there's been a very uneven distribution in those pay rises, and perhaps people lower down the scale haven't got them, and also there have been more low-paid jobs coming into the system.
Well, I don't think that's right. And indeed, if most of the numbers suggest that, for example, the gap between the rich and the poorest has narrowed over the course of the last 5 years. I accept the point that we have gone through difficult times, that has had an impact on people's living standards. That was, as the IFS has said, an inevitable consequence of the sharpest recession that this country has faced for many, many, many years. But what we are now seeing is an economy that is growing jobs. We are also seeing a large number of vacancies, so that's good news that this trend will continue. We are seeing that wages are going up ahead of inflation, and we are seeing living standards improving.
I mean, what the ONS does say is that the bulk of these jobs are relatively poor quality service sector jobs.
Well, something like 60% are managerial or skilled jobs. It's also worth pointing out that 80% of the jobs in the last year that have been created are full-time jobs. So the idea that this is just a recovery of low-paid part-time work, actually the numbers don't support that. As I say, what we're seeing is the UK economy coming strongly through, having had a difficult period of time, but we're seeing jobs, we are seeing wages going up, we're seeing vacancies, and with that, of course, the power goes to those who are the employee who's got greater choices.
But what about that statistic we were seeing there with Faisal Islam, the increase of people on zero-hours contracts, for example?
Well, as the ONS have been very clear, it is not a direct comparison, because awareness of the concept of zero-hour contracts
it's all
has
just
gone up.
Statistical, do you?
Well, I think it is the case that there's much more awareness of zero-hours contracts, and therefore there's much more reporting of it. And the ONS have been clear that it's not possible to make a direct comparison. It is worth pointing out, as I say, that 80% of jobs are full-time. Only 2% of the workforce have a zero-hours contract. And I know the Labour Party want to focus on this particular issue, and they wouldn't want to talk about the broader employment numbers. But we have to remember that. But the way that you should address zero-hours contracts is by having an economy that creates jobs, so that if people want a regular contract, they've got that choice.
Because, I mean, we've got to record employment levels now, albeit that productivity is very low. You're saying in your manifesto you're going to create another 2 million jobs. That's not really credible, is it?
Yes, it is.
Are we at the peak already?
Yeah, I believe it is. And I think we have to ask, why are we seeing employment numbers move so strongly? Partly we're making work pay. We're cutting income tax by raising the personal allowance. Partly it's about welfare reforms. And again, that's ensuring that work pays. And partly it's by creating a climate that is good for businesses. That means cutting the jobs tax, making it easier for small businesses to take staff on, having very low rates of corporation tax that attract investment to the UK. Now, if we have a government that pursues those types of policies, those are policies that deliver job creation. If we can stick to that path, I believe there's every reason to think that we will be able to expand the number of jobs in the next parliament.
OK, we shall see. David Gauke, thank you very much indeed.
Meanwhile, a murder investigation has been launched in Merseyside.